Hey everyone, Richard Metal Fan here, bringing you guys a brand new 2017 album review. And today we're going to be looking into the new album from the band The Black Dahlia Murder, entitled Nightbringers, which came out today through Metal Blade Records. Now, everybody should probably have at least heard of The Black Dahlia Murder if you're a fan of death metal or melodic death metal. They're like I said, death metal or melodic death metal, whatever you want to classify them as, hailing all the way from Michigan. They've been around since 2001, and these guys are easily one of my all-time favorite bands since high school. I remember the first time I've heard of them back in like 2009. It was around the time they had their album Death Rate, and I heard the song Rock Band, and they had the song What a Horrible Night to Have a Curse off of their album Nocturnal, which in my opinion is still their best album. And I heard it, I was instantly hooked, and then I've seen these guys 4 times, and these guys have been one of my favorites. And these guys have been putting out albums since their debut album, which came out in 2003, Unhallowed, which in my opinion is an alright album, but it's one of my least favorites. But not to say that it's terrible, but every album after that they've gotten better, such as like Miasmo in 2005, Nocturnal in 2007, which, like I said, in my opinion, my favorite Black Dahlia Murder album, and I had the opportunity to see them this past summer at Summer Slaughter, play the album in its entirety. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the new album Nightbringers, which came out today. And this album, of course, is the follow-up to 2015's Abysmal, which I thought was pretty good. And this album actually marks the first album with a new member. They have the new lead guitarist Brandon Ellis, who is from Arsis, who replaced Ryan Knight, their other guitarist. And what can I say? This guy can fucking shred. But the question to ask: does this album live up to Abysmal, or is it better than that? In my honest opinion, I think it definitely has. I actually really think it's a huge step up from Abysmal. I mean, everything the Black Dahlia Murder has done is top notch. I mean, I don't think this band can write a bad song if they could try to. I mean, everything they've done is just spot on. Like they just get better, like musically, lyrically, vocally, everything about them, they just get better and better. Like the production is just great. The production has stepped up like tenfold, like with every album they've done. But vocals, let's talk about Trevor Sternad's vocals. His vocals have, like I said, like the highs he does is just really just eerie and screechy. I just love it. And just like the glows is just so punching and just guttural. The guitar work on this album is really great. I mean, Brian Eschbach and new lead guitarist Brandon Ellis, their solo, like Brandon's soloing is just shred-tastic. I mean, he had a lot of shoes to fill after previous guitarist Ryan Knight, and my god, the guy can shred. And of course, Brian's riffs are just really great. He comes up with some new stuff on this album, and it's really good. The bass is pretty audible. You could definitely hear Max Lavelle's bass a lot, especially since the last couple albums. The drumming, what can I say about Alan Blasty-Casti? Easily the best drummer they've had yet. Like the fills and like the blast beats and shit that he does is just fucking perfect. Without further ado, let's dive into this album track by track. Now, the album opens up with the song Widowmaker, which is a devastating opener with a super catchy riff, complete with a stunning solo and a visceral scream near the end. And honestly, I think this is the best opener that the Black Dahlia Murder has had on any albums in quite some time. Great way to start off this album. Then we go into Of God and Serpent, of Spectre and Snake. Immediately unfurls with some really great riffs and some really fast vocals from Trevor. And about halfway through the song, it kind of like goes into some weird kind of like distorted like guitars and a very thundering bass. And a good song, by the way. Matriarch kind of like pushes the triple distilled quintessence of melodic death metal. It's a really great song, just like very fast and makes you punches you over the face repeatedly. Then we go into Nightbringers, the title track of the album. One of the most hook-filled tracks on this album. Many of riffs, just riffs and riffs on this song, and really great vocal lines that will get like serious like airplay, and just what can I say? One of the most catchiest songs on there. It almost has a little bit of an anthemic vibe to it. One of the best songs on here. or is the first single on this album. You should definitely, one of the most, I should recommend you should check that song out first, since it's the first song you hear. Then we go into Jars, which is a very rabid song. Instrumentally, it pulls out like all the groove, the gallops, and gurge with some very rampaging riffs and insane blast beats on this track. Kings of the Night World, catchy chorus, simply awesome guitar work, and it works good in like the live setting. It's a very good live type of song. Catacomb, Hectacomb, similar to the previous track, Kings of the Night World, has a catchy chorus. It also kind of like prepares you with like a very blistering guitar solo in the song. It's really good. As Good as Dead, a really pretty good song. Really enjoyed that one. And then the album closes with The Lonely Deceased, which is an absolute monster of an ending. The leads from Brandon carry a very sinister feel throughout most of the song, and it has a really good dive bomb solo. It was one of the best on here. And then halfway through the song, a guy like goes into some very soft guitars. Then it just leads it to like back into like the monster of the song, and it just goes into a really good way to end this album. Now overall, Nightbringers by Black Dahlia Murder is another sick addition to their discography. If I were to give this album a score, I'd definitely give this a solid 9.5 out of 10, or probably a 10 out of 10. It's probably up there with like the new Creator, New Overkill, probably for me for albums of the year. But yeah, that's my review of the new Black Dahlia Murder, guys. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about it, and I'll see you all in the next video, and keep it metal.